Good morning, children. Welcome back to the online class. Let me read a Bible verse for you. Cast all your anxiety on Him because He cares for you. 1 Peter 5:7. Dear children, we have a God who knows us perfectly. He created us and knows every hair of our head. He loves His children and perfectly attentive. He already knows our fears and failures. So cast all your burdens on Him. He will not only bear your anxiety and also has a plan to prosper you. He will strengthen you and give you peace. So submit everything in His hands and He will take care of all your needs. Now let's do a recap on what we studied in the previous class. In the previous class we were discussing about potential energy. So what is potential energy? Potential energy is nothing but energy possessed by a body due to its position. Then we studied about the potential energy near the surface of the earth. Then we studied about elastic potential energy. So what is elastic potential energy? Potential energy possessed by a spring due to a deformed force which stretches or compresses the spring. Then we studied about the conservative and non-conservative force. Can you give me some examples for conservative force? Yes, magnetic force, gravitational force. Yes, then for non-conservative force, yes, it is nothing but the frictional force. Yes. Okay, then we also studied about the law of conservation of energy. Today we are going to learn about motion in a vertical circle and also about power. If you tie a stone at the end of a string and if you rotate it above your head, the rotation will be horizontal to the surface. Now instead if we rotate it in this direction, the motion of the object will be vertical to the surface. That is, the rotation of the object will be in the vertical direction. Today we are going to learn about the motion in a vertical circle. Imagine a body of mass m attached to a massless inextensible string. When you rotate it, it executes circular motion in a vertical plane. The other end of the string is fixed. Now the length of the string becomes the radius of the circular path. So when the object is made to rotate, it makes an angle theta with the vertically downward direction and v be the instantaneous velocity at this position. Instantaneous velocity means it's a velocity of an object at a given instant. There are two forces acting on the mass. One is the gravitational force which acts downwards and the other one is the tension acting along the string, which is the tensional force. Two components act at this point. One is mg cos theta because the angle produced over here and the angle produced over here, that is theta, are the same. Another component is mg sin theta which acts along the tangential direction. Now applying Newton's second law in the tangential direction. The force along the tangential direction is mg sin theta. So mg sin theta is equal to m into at. According to Newton's second law, force is equal to mass into acceleration. Here the acceleration is nothing but is equal to change in velocity by time. So mg sin theta is equal to minus m dv by dt. The negative sign is due to, that is, the object here moving upwards in the direction opposite to the gravitational force. So we call it as the retardation or the negative acceleration. Now along the radial direction, that is along the radius, two forces are acting. One is the tensional force and the other one is mg cos theta. So the equation will be T minus mg cos theta is equal to m into AR. Now AR is the acceleration along the radial direction. Now negative sign here is due to both are acting in the opposite direction. That is a tension and also the mg cos theta. Now T minus mg cos theta is equal to m into AR. So when the object is moving in the circular motion, it requires a centripetal force. So here AR is the centripetal acceleration. That is, we know the formula for centripetal acceleration is v square by r. So T minus mg cos theta is equal to m into v square by r. Now the circle can be divided into 4 sections A, B, C and D for better understanding of the motion of the object. Now let's see the 4 important facts from the 2 equations. When the object is in motion, for all values of theta, so whatever may be the angle, the mass will have the tangential acceleration and the circular motion will not be a uniform circular motion since the velocity here keeps on changing. Now the second fact is the velocity and also the tension in the string is not a constant. Now let us consider the sections A and D. In equation T is equal to mg cos theta plus mv square by r. That is, here the theta values are between minus pi by 2 to pi by 2. So the cos theta here it will be positive even when the velocity is 0. So that is, in this area the tension cannot vanish even when the velocity vanishes. Now considering the sections A and C of the circle, let's take the equation mv square by r is equal to T minus mg cos theta. Here the theta value is between 90 degree and 270 degree. So here the cos theta is negative. Negative and negative becomes positive. So the second term always will be greater than 0. Hence the velocity cannot vanish. So at this higher point, even when the tension vanishes, the velocity will not vanishes. That is, when t is equal to 0, the velocity cannot vanish. In this circular motion, let us consider 2 points. Say the lowest point be 1 and the highest point be 2. So v1 be the velocity at the lowest point and v2 be the velocity at the highest point. And the direction of velocity is tangential to the circular path at all points. Now T1 be the tension at the lowest point and T2 be the tension at the highest point. And the tension at each point acts towards the center. The tension and the velocities at these points can be found by applying law of conservation of energy. Let's first see the tension and the velocity at the lowest point. Now at this point the gravitational force mg acts downwards and tension T1 acts vertically upwards towards the center. These two are acting in the opposite direction. So we can write T1 minus mg because T1 is of tension at this point. So T1 minus mg is equal to mv1 square by r. Now at the lowest point there is no angle. So theta is equal to 0. So cos 0 is equal to 1. So the equation becomes T1 is equal to mv1 square by r plus mg. Now let's see for the highest point. So for the highest point, both the gravitational force and the tension acts in the downward direction. At this point, theta will be equal to 180 degree. So cos 180 is equal to minus 1. So the equation becomes T2 plus mg is equal to mv2 square by r, or T2 is equal to mv2 square by r minus mg. So from the highest and the lowest point equation, it is understood that T1 is always greater than T2. That is, the tension at the lowest point is greater than the tension at the highest point. Now the difference in tension, that is T1 minus T2, is obtained by subtracting the two equations. Now T1 minus T2 is equal to mv1 square by r plus mg minus mv2 square by r minus mg. So mv1 square by r plus mg minus mv2 square by r plus mg. Now taking m by r out, we will get T1 minus T2 is equal to m by r v1 square minus v2 square plus 2mg. The velocity term v1 square minus v2 square can be easily found out by the law of conservation of energy at the point 1 and the point 2. The total energy at the point 1, that is E1, is equal to the total energy at the point 2, that is E2. So that is E1 is equal to E2. The potential energy at 1 will be, now U1 is equal to 0 and the kinetic energy point 1 will be half mv1 square. So the total energy at point 1 will be E1 is equal to potential energy plus kinetic energy. So U1 plus KE1, so which will be equal to half mv1 square. Now the potential energy at the point 2. So which will be U2 is equal to mgh. Here h is nothing but it is 2r from the point 1. So it will be mg into 2r. Now the kinetic energy at the point 2. So kinetic energy will be Ke2 is equal to half mv2 square. So the total energy at 2 will be E2 is equal to potential energy plus kinetic energy, that will be U2 plus Ke2, that is 2 mgr plus half mv2 square. So from the law of conservation of energy, E1 is equal to E2. Half mv1 square is equal to 2 mgr plus half mv2 square. So after rearranging, we will get half m v1 square minus v2 square is equal to 2 mgr, or v1 square minus v2 square is equal to 4gr. Now substituting this in this equation. So when we substitute, we will get T1 minus T2 is equal to m by r into 4gr plus 2mg. Here r and r get cancelled. So the difference in tension will be T1 minus T2 is equal to 6 mg. Now let's calculate the minimum speed at the highest point. So the body must have a minimum speed at the point 2. Otherwise the string will slack before it reaches the point 2 and the body will not loop the circle. Let us take the tension T2 is equal to 0. So in this equation, T2 is equal to mv2 square by r minus mg. So T2 is 0. So T0 is equal to mv2 square by r minus mg, or mv2 square by r is equal to mg. mm get cancelled. v2 square is equal to rg, or v2 is equal to root of gr. The body must have a speed at point 2 be v2, that is, it should be greater than or equal to root of gr to stay in the circular path. Now let's find the minimum speed at the lowest point 1. In order to have the minimum speed v2 is equal to root of gr at point 2, the body must have the minimum speed also at the point 1. So by using the equation v1 square minus v2 square is equal to 4gr. Substituting v2 square in this equation, we will get v1 square minus gr is equal to 4gr, or v1 square is equal to 5gr, or v1 is equal to root of 5gr. So the body must have a minimum speed at the point 1 will be v1 should be greater than or equal to root of 5gr. So what do we understand from this? It is clear, that is the minimum speed at the lowest point 1 should be root 5 times more than the minimum speed at the highest point. Then the body will loops without leaving the circle. That is, it will form a circle without falling down. Now next let's learn what is power. So what is power? How fast or how slow the work is being done. So it is defined as the rate at which the work is done or the energy delivered. So the power is equal to work done by time taken. So P is equal to W by T, where P is the power, W is the work done, and T be the time taken. Now let's see what is average power. Average power is defined as the ratio of the total work done to the total time taken. Next let us see what is instantaneous power. So which is nothing but it is defined as the power delivered at any instant. So dW by dt. Power is a scalar quantity and its dimensional formula is ml square T minus 3. And the SI unit of power is watt, and which was invented by the inventor of the steam engine. So can you guess? Yes, very good. James Watt, he was the one invented the steam engine and he gave the unit for power. So what is 1 watt? 1 watt is defined as the power when 1 joule of work is done in 1 second. You know who I am? I am the inventor of the steam engine and also the SI unit of power. For motors, engines, and some automobiles, an old unit of power still commercially in use, which is called as the horsepower. We have a conversion for horsepower into watt, which is 1 horsepower is equal to 746 watt. A 100 watt bulb consumes 100 joule of electrical energy in 1 second. Now let's see the relation between the power and the velocity. The work done by a force F for a displacement dr is given by W is equal to integral of F dot dr. Now let us write the left hand side of the equation as W is equal to integral of dW, that is change in work done, which is equal to integral of dW multiplying and dividing by dt. So dW by dt into dt. Now we know the velocity is nothing but rate of change of displacement. So v is equal to dr by dt, or dr is equal to v into dt. Now we are writing the right hand side of the equation. Now the right hand side of the equation can be written as integral of f dot dr is equal to integral of f dot dr by again multiplying and dividing by dt. So here dr by dt is nothing but the velocity. So integral of f dot v into dt. Now equating both the equations, the left hand side and the right hand side. So it becomes integral of dw by dt into dt is equal to integral of f dot v into dt. That is integral of dw by dt minus f dot v into dt is equal to 0. Now this implies that the term inside the bracket must be equal to 0. So we can write dw by dt minus f dot v is equal to 0, or dw by dt is equal to f dot v, where f into v is nothing but the power. Power is nothing but force into velocity. Dear children, kindly write the derivation for the motion in a vertical circle in your classwork notebook. Watch the supplementary video, play the Kahoot, and complete the test. Thank you, children.